How are you? Good. Good to see you. All right, it is just a little bit after 6, so we will call this meeting to order. I declare that we have a full quorum minus one council member. Councilmember Brett Hansen is not here. We will stand for our prayer and be followed by our pledge of allegiance. Father, I come to you in the name of Jesus, and we just thank you for this time. We just thank you for our community. We thank you for our citizens. We just ask for your wisdom and your guidance and good questions, and just the ability to make quality decisions for our city, for our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are going to move forward with number 11, which is on the regular agenda. It is consideration and possible action to adopt ordinance number 2025-08-02, rezoning approximately 65.19 acres in the River Oaks area from agricultural ag to urban estates located in the William Gibby Survey, the abstract number 501, and the S.P. Ross Survey, abstract number 698, Bell County, Texas. Yeah.
Yes, this was brought to us. We published proper notice, and this is the public hearing that is required of the city to allow folks to come up and express any concerns they may have. It's going from ag to urban estate, which is half-acre lots instead of the more densely populated in the previous tract that was rezoned. Beyond that, I welcome any questions we may have.
Council, you got anything you want? We want to wait and see. So we're going to open the public hearing at 6:05, and it is your opportunity to speak. If you would, when you step up to the podium, give us your name and address, and speak for or against, instead speak towards this issue. And now's the time to do that.
My name's Doug Bain. My address is 13990 North I-35. And I'm also speaking for my sister, Nona Cole, 1440 Old 81, 14440 Old 81, which is the driveway directly across from Royal Oaks Drive. The first house south of the Iron Bridge and directly across from River Oaks. 2 months ago, and for the 6 months before that, we went through, many of us spoke about our concerns about the traffic, in my case about the drainage, but for the overall neighborhood, the traffic issues on Old 81. And all the same issues are present here. We're talking about adding, let's see, urban estates is 22,500 square feet. That's a little over a half acre. So on 65 acres, I think it's reasonable to expect they may build 100 homes or more, in addition to the 130 or 40 or 50 that were just approved 2 months ago. The Iron Bridge is still 104 years old. You still can't drive trucks over. All that traffic's still going to have to go down Old 81 past the high school and the softball fields. And those issues haven't been addressed yet, and here we are 2 months later coming back wanting to add another 100 homes. And I would hope that the council would think about this and consider just how you're compounding the problem if you do this without addressing the road issue. Somehow, Old 81 is not walkable. I mean, I've said this so many times, and I appreciate your patience letting me say it again. But that is my primary concern. The other concern, besides just the traffic load and the Iron Bridge, is the fact that if I understand what Mr. Wall said back in November when he originally withdrew his request to change that tract of land to residential, that the entry to that property is going to be Royal Oaks Drive, which empties out directly in front of the Iron Bridge. So I would ask you to think about what it's going to be like when that thing is built out. If the bridge is not replaced, or if they're in a traffic signal or something, you're going to have a convergence of people coming across that one-lane bridge, no telling how fast, and people trying to turn left to go onto the bridge and get the shortest way to I-35. So, at the risk of being redundant, I ask you to consider that. And I have a question also. Is this going to be septic, or is it going to be connected to the sewer system? Because that raises another issue. If you have another 100 homes on septic on that hill close to Big Elm Creek, I think any of you that have driven down Old 81 and looked at the entrance to the existing subdivision, the water seeps out of that hill pretty much all year round. And I think it's worth considering how the addition of, say, 100 septic drain fields is going to affect the water table or the runoff situation in Big Elm Creek. So I'd ask you to consider that. All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Leslie Valderas, 14321 Old Troy Road. Please don't let the lack of participation the day before school be an indication of the opposition in our neighborhood. I put a post out on our community group. There were quite a few people that were very disappointed to hear that the developers were coming back so quickly asking for the council's permission to rezone or approval to rezone so quickly. I think a lot of people that were mad about it the first go around are still mad about it. But hope that we might have more separation of time between the first phase and the second phase to see how it went. I mean, we were going to try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and hope that all of our concerns that we voiced 7 times in the past would be addressed. Maybe perhaps we would be wrong. So, of course, we're here to ask you to deny the rezoning. A half-acre lot versus a quarter-acre lot really doesn't make a big difference. From our perspective, it's still going to be at least 100 houses. It's going to contribute significantly to the amount of traffic on our street. We've already seen, as the first house on Old Troy, a tremendous uptick in our traffic lately for some reason. Don't know why. Lots of stopped traffic, cars turning around in our driveway, just general disruptions to the flow of traffic along that stretch of road. And so obviously having a small child, I'm concerned about that. Having livestock, I'm concerned about that as well. And so we would just ask the council to use the common sense that you guys used back in November when we were here the first go around all the way up until recently. And at least let us have the time to see how phase 1 of this project's going to go. And if the issues that we have, predicted will happen actually happen, and if we can have some remedy to that before you make a decision on rezoning into these tiny lots that will bring 100 more houses and probably 200 more cars on our streets.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak? Now's the time. Okay. All right. We will close the public hearing at 6:12.
I'm sorry, I was addressing the question.
Yeah, but it's
Sure. Did the developer mention anything to you about this zoning request as far as why he submitted it at this point?
No, they didn't give any specific. And to answer one of the residents' questions, we don't know what the sewer's going to look like at this point either, whether it's going to be septic or city sewer, which we're at this point.
How long would it take to, I guess, get that information?
speaking.
Sorry, how long would it take to get that information?
We can ask, but right now, a little too early in the design part, because we're not required to do a lot of design at this stage of the development for zoning.
Oh, yes, that's right. Just for the record, Paul Ramirez is abstaining because has property out there, so he's not part of the conversation or the vote.
May I address the council briefly? In looking at the map, it looks like he's far enough away from the second track that he would actually be able to vote on this issue.
Okay.
It was at the request of the developer that we included, or originally included the first zoning as well, just as a common courtesy, that way we know it fell out.
Do we have to agree on that? Or council, whether or not there's some
Can I see what you have there?
Sure.
I'm just curious.
better?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, half-acre lots, if I recall, was part of what the original public hearings, it was part of the commentary that we heard in the original public hearings, that this is the zoning that was requested. By most of the people that were talking. And that, I know that has changed, that there's quite a bit of requesting, if I remember. Back when those number of deeds. It seems like this, urban estates was the requested zoning change for most of the original deeds.
That's correct, that's what I observed.
So I'm just making a statement. Or maybe you have a comment?
I would really more like to know a little bit more, like, the sewer, that was one of my questions. Yeah, that's one question, at least answered.
The issue, I think, with the sewer is we're not gonna know until they get into the engineering stage, which is gonna be, they're not engineered on a track land, if you will. Just lost. I do know there's a lift station on the phase, the original phase. And I would assume this would probably go with that. But without engineering, it's work.
One would hope.
Right, sure.
And also the applicant isn't here to answer, those questions as well.
And obviously, I think half-acre lots would be great for Troy. That's typically, a larger home. That's obviously what we would like to see.
I agree in that. Only with the larger lots, which people had asked for.
Can I ask just a general question?
Yes, we can do that.
May I ask just a general question?
Yeah.
And I can answer it pertaining to this. But if we vote on this and it does get zoned, like he's asking, then it does not necessarily have to be a half-acre lots. He would be able to go to that step once, correct? So his lot is half-acre urban estates. Urban estates, that's correct. And that cannot be changed.
Well, I mean, you have to do it in zoning laws.
We would have to approve it.
And no public hearing, and there's no change. David, you want to get something on that?
Well, the one thing that, I'll speak up. So, I don't have a vote here unless, well, no, it's not gonna be even. I don't have a vote here, but I do have an opinion. And so I'll express my opinion and then see how far that goes. I would like to, having the urban estates is a good thing, but I also see the point of seeing how that first subdivision goes and seeing how things progress. But I know once we approve the urban estates, then that can all just build out kind of at the same time. And, that's my opinion. I mean, I think you know where I'm going with that. I don't have a vote, but I would like to see that first one progress and at least have the builder here to answer questions rather than us just having to think about what he might be thinking. And so maybe, maybe that might be a good route to go, is at least show up and be able to answer some of the questions that we have. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I would agree with that.
100%, same.
Let's, are we ready to move forward with this motion? Because we're considering possible action to adopt ordinance 2025-08-02 rezoning approximately to 6.519 acres in River Oaks. Do we have a motion?
I would like to motion to push it to later date.
So would that be a no for now?
Yes, a no for now.
If we were to table this, what is the time frame? What is the ramifications of that versus just letting it go without a motion?
Janine, we have to put out another notice, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would still have to do a publication in the newspaper. We would have to send out letters, which is at least 30 days in advance before the next public hearing. So we're probably not next month, but probably the month after would be the earliest.
Either way.
Right.
I'll second the motion to table.
Okay, so we went with your first motion. Which was
Motion to table.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Boykin to table. We have a second by Councilman Hicks. All in favor of tabling? We're going to table for now. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we will move to we're going to move to number 5, which is police report. Chief?
Good evening, council, good evening, mayor. Going over some numbers from last year to this year. All events, last year 845, 743 for this month, or July 25. Calls for service 366 and July 25 401. As far as the calls for service, nothing really glares out. Officer initiated events 479 last year and 342 this year. Citations are down, but we did manage to get area checks done. Arrest last year 2 felonies, 0 for July, and 11 for last year on the misdemeanors before misdemeanors for July 25. Reports are similar, 24 total reports last year and 26 July 25. Probably a couple of concerns of what people would ask questions about is the burglary report. I'll talk about that in just a minute. References to neighborhood burglaries. And then the sexual assaults, those are known offenders, so it's not anybody breaking into houses committing sexual assault. So if I remember not confusing my months, one has been closed and the other one's under investigation. So we're working that. A little bit of increase in the animals to the shelter, I guess just because of the spring and summer months. But we've had a few households that have caught several cats, so that's been high. Going to report 2, I'd like to introduce our newest officer, Sean Childers. He's 32 years of service at the Temple Police Department. He's retired. Decided that he would like to come over and be a school resource officer with us. Troy, his first school day is tomorrow. So
Actually, nice.
he should be ready.
I goes tomorrow.
We've learned recently that no cell phones in the schools, which is great. So we'll be ready for that, hopefully. Also, just one thing I skipped over is he was a sergeant for 20 years also at Temple. So we hope that maturity and thinking helps us out in the school area. To go to the neighborhood burglaries, y'all probably saw on Facebook and some other social media about Lee and Colby area. There were some started out as car burglaries. somebody going through cars, ransacking cars, taking small items. But, you know, this is why we have a great community, because due to the citizen involvement, the social media activity, and citizens reporting, seeing suspicious activity on cameras, we were able to locate a juvenile suspect. So the investigation's ongoing, but on one of those, we did take a burglary report. The suspect didn't enter the house, but entered the garage. It was attached to the house, so it was considered a burglary. Used the garage door opener from the unlocked vehicle. Opened the garage door, went through stuff. We didn't know until a couple days later that a scooter that was found at a scene of a possible fuel theft in the neighborhood was a scooter from the garage. So like I said, the investigation's ongoing. Trying to link that together, see if the juvenile suspect is our suspect in that. So, that concludes our report. If you have any questions?
Can you talk a little bit about the accident, the terrible accident we had here?
So I can talk like about the major stuff. 18-wheeler northbound, leaves the roadway for an unknown reason, into that grass median. I don't know, from the main lanes to the service road, there's a grass median right there where the treasure hut used to be and the ATM. Once it gets to that grassy area, it kind of veers back onto the interstate, hits the center median, and jumps over into the southbound traffic. And that's where the collisions and the fire and all that occurred. Everybody involved was not, there was nobody from Troy, but it was from out of town. Multiple commercial motor vehicles. We had Texas DPS help us identify some of the vehicles, and also, since they're out of town, our resources are limited, so we're utilizing outside resources, Texas DPS and some others, to help us reach out and find information on commercial motor vehicles and where they came from, and logs and stuff like that. So the investigation continues, and it's probably going to be a long one because there's a lot of data and a lot of information, and so that's where we're at right now.
Did you ever find out what they were calling?
So the northbound, we're calling ATVs, like the side-by-sides, the Polaris ATVs.
Yeah.
There was, I believe, 3 or 4 of them in there. They came from the factory or some kind of holding facility. They're brand new, and so that was what was in that vehicle. I don't know, or I don't remember what was in the southbound tractor trailers that caught on fire.
Yeah, I still see there's still pieces of it over there.
Yes, sir.
Right
And,
side of the road.
I believe the Groans, the environmental company that comes out and cleans up, they should come out and clean all that up. I do know TxDOT is already planning to redo the center median, but of course they're going to try to pick something where they're not influencing traffic too much. So,
Probably late night then.
late night, but they did say it could creep into the early morning of rush hour. They're trying not to, but they kind of warned us they could.
Did they give you a timeline when they might be looking at doing it?
They did Sunday. I'm trying to get which Sunday. I thought it was going to be this next Sunday, but they couldn't make that in concrete. I guess there's too many third parties that have to be involved. But I'll find out.
I see the area checks is up too. That's nice.
Yes, sir.
So that's went from 80 last year to 70 this year.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, move to number 6, administrator report. Caleb?
Yes, I'll keep this one brief. Again, huge shout out to Christie and company for helping us put together this budget. She's done great work, and want to give a huge thank you to you, Christie. Moving on, River Oaks developer, myself and Bill met with the design team that is looking to install the off-site water main. And between Bill and myself, we provided them a slew of comments that need to be addressed prior to approving that off-site water line, which should help pressure in that area. They do need to address all our comments prior to moving forward with that project. And I did reach out to the city attorney, and the liquor sales petition, that does need to be by petition, it cannot be by council action. So I did get a legal opinion on that matter. That's it for the city administrator report.
So in other words, if anybody wants to liquor, they need to start a petition. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Tim? Okay, number 7, which is water and wastewater report, Bill?
I'll go ahead and give that one. He wasn't.
I'm looking at you, yeah, Bill.
Again, the tower well was taken offline, and at my direction, the contractor was to test the motor and pump assembly that is in the hole that they took out of the hole prior to running it back in to make sure it functions as it's designed to. I just received that test report back this past Friday, and it did pass. So we'll be scheduling the tower well installation here in the very near future. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'll let everybody know when it does.
We have a ballpark fee around money.
Not at the moment. I did instruct them to replace the entire length of cabling for that, instead of just splicing a new section in there. And now that we have all the information, they will get us a revised quote to get it back online, and I will let you know what that cost is. Moving on to elevated storage tank, I've been working with KSA to find cheaper, more reasonable alternatives to what they're proposing is a 1 million gallon elevated storage. They proposed a 200,000 gallon elevated storage, which should get us out at a minimum 15 to 20 years down the road based on 5% growth, which that may be the more reasonable option to get the elevated storage you need instead of a 1 million gallon tank, which will just a full build out, and we have no idea how long they'll actually take. And I'm proud to state that all known water leaks that were ongoing for months have been repaired, and July's water loss, that was reduced to 38%, which is down from an average of 55%. So that'll really alleviate the purchased water price for people, as well as bringing the new well online. And moving on to the oil and wastewater treatment plant, I've received a quote from WWTS, wastewater transport haulers, for a load of seed sludge to help the plant fully recover and bring everything back up to standards. And I'm still in the process of reviewing that quote, and it seems within reason. I should be confirmed, and we should be back up and running. And that is it for the water wastewater report.
Motion to ask if the cost of that's going to be covered by,
And that is part of the due diligence I have to make sure of. We did receive payment from Love's here recently. Is that correct, Christie? So we'll need to reach out to them and see if they'll cover that cost.
one more question. The standpipe elevated storage, is that a possibility? Or do you think the 250,000 gallon EST is the better way to do it?
Based on the cost they provided, it seems like the 200,000 gallon EST would be the way to go. But again, there's a lot of what ifs I need to take a look at, so I don't have that answer to you yet. It's just part of our evaluation. We're just trying to see what gets us down the road longer, or the biggest, gets us the most bang for our buck.
What would the location of that be at first? Sure.
More than likely, yeah. Mhm.
So it would actually be filled pretty much from the well.
Correct. As of right now, we'll need to put it into paper, engineering wise, to see what makes the most sense, but at first brush, that's what we're anticipating. Mm-hmm.
Want to do a break with this?
Sure. permit report. Month of July, they received roughly $35,000 in fees, and the total valuation of those permits came in at around $1.9 million. And those were all residential permits. So that was 19 residential permits issued for the month of July. In the year-to-date numbers, the grand total number of permits is 146, which brings us to a yearly grand total of permit fees at $157,683, with a total valuation of $10 million, or we'll say $10.5 million. And that's just the permit report.
Any questions? Move to number 9, which is our court report, to be given by Councilwoman Lily May.
For the court report, July 2025, new cases filed 178, total cases disposed 117, kept by the city $21,363.84, remitted to the state $12,894.89, for a total of $34,258.73.
Thank you, Lord. Moves to number 10, which is the consent agenda. Everyone has had an opportunity to look that over this weekend. Any questions, concerns, or?
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilman Hicks to accept the consent agenda as written. We have a second by Councilman Rivera. Is all in favor of that? Yes, unanimous vote. Moves us to number 12, which is budget workshop, discussion of fiscal year 2025-2026, proposed budgets under the no new revenue tax rate and the voter approval tax rate.
Yes, and on this one, what we've done is we provided 2 budget proposals, one at the no new revenue rate and one at the voter approval rate. And just so everybody's aware, both proposals are below the current tax rate. And what Chrissy and I are needing most out of this discussion is council consensus on which tax rate we are to move forward with, so we can get the proper documentation in front of all those that need it. If we don't receive consensus this evening, then we'll have to call a special call meeting on the 15th, which is Friday, in order to get that consensus and get that vote. Otherwise, we won't meet our timelines. And with that, I welcome any and all questions.
For the record, the current rate is 1.48.
Correct.
What do you recommend?
I would recommend the voter approval rate at this point. That brings tax rate down, obviously, from what it currently is. And that gets us Church Road repaved, that gets us the splash pad rebuilt, which I did receive a quote earlier today. That splash pad, less engineering and inspection cost, is going to come in roughly around $80,000 to $90,000. SCAD engineering at 15%, that'll get you roughly $115,000. So there's some fluff in there for any added extras. So it gets us a splash pad, gets us Church Road repaved, and just a transfer of funds from our general fund reserve to the tune of 70. Just pull it up here. $152 versus $132, right? Yeah. So it's a general fund transfer, reserve transfer, $132,000 instead of $100.
What is the percentage of COLA?
3%. which is above the consumer price index for inflation. This is maybe one way.
And then one new police vehicle, is that correct?
That is correct.
So because of the wait time that we have on vehicles, how soon do we need to order that vehicle to see it appear here?
You're talking about, the one?
The one in the proposed budget.
Oh, the proposed budget? Yeah, I would have to order that, right in October, and hopefully get that May, June timeframe, somewhere in there, if everything goes right.
Now, is that going to come completely outfitted, or we still have to add something?
That will come completely outfitted. We'll just have to add our radio, police radio, graphics, and then we'll have to get the Axon camera system taken out of the car. We're going to put on some fleet and put it and transfer it over. So, but those things can all be ordered while we're waiting for it.
Which seems like what, plenty of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had said in the previous meeting that I was going to go with revenue rates, which is the lower revenue rates. However, both your discussion will take on specific church commissions currently. I've changed my opinion on that.
Which is 24,
Which is still obviously what's the existing current fiscal year tax rate. So it actually decreased the current tax rate.
I'm favoring the voter approval tax rate.
As well.
So,
Second.
all right, so then what we would need is a motion.
This is a workshop. We're
Oh,
just
that's right.
getting consensus from council. Chris and I, at this point, have received what we needed in order to move forward, putting documents together. So, thank you all, council.
Short and sweet. Number 13, consider adopting resolution 2025-08-03, setting October 14th, 2025 at 6 p.m. as the date and time for the regular October meeting of the Troy City Council to be held in the Troy Community Center.
Yes, so Janine brought this to our attention late last week. We put this on the agenda. Meeting in October falls on Columbus Day, so we're needing to change that day to a day that we'll all be here and be in town. And we're hopeful that October 14th is a day that works for all council.
Mayor Martin, I would like to make a motion to adopt resolution 2025-8-3, setting October 14, 2025 at 6 p.m. as the date and time for the regular October meeting of the Troy City Council to be held in the Troy Community Center.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Cortez. We have a second by Councilman Boykin. All in favor of this? We have a unanimous vote. We'll see everybody on October 14th. Number 14, consideration and possible action to adopt ordinance number 2025-08-01, amending the City of Troy fee schedule appendix to include a new engineering review and inspection fee assessed at cost plus 15% administrative surcharge. Taylor?
Yes, on this one, I'm bringing forward this item because our subdivision construction plans are, those costs are being eaten by our general fund budget, and those costs need to be passed on to the applicants, permittees, and developers. So this ordinance is adding that fee into our fee schedule at a cost plus 15%, which will cover all administrative fees, which is industry standard. And this will help free up general fund dollars and be more in line with the process that developers are accustomed to. And this will also allow inspections to occur on these construction sites where individuals like bills companies that come in and inspect infrastructure, they can invoice at cost plus, or they can invoice at their cost, and we'll turn around and invoice at cost plus for this administration of it. So this is just to make sure each developer is paying their own way through. And I did have the city attorney review it, and he is fine with the way it is written structured.
Any questions?
I will motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-08-01, amending the City of Troy fee schedule ordinance.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Boykin. Do we have a second? So we have a second by Councilman Meeks. All in favor? Unanimous vote. Number 15, which is consider adopting ordinance 2025-08-03 and calling and ordering a special election for the city of Troy to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, for the purpose of reauthorizing the city of Troy's 0.25% sales tax for street maintenance.
Janine, you want to jump in on this one?
Sure. So this election is held once every 4 years. The last one was actually held in November of 2021. And so we are coming up on the 4th year. We'll need to call the election by, I believe it's August 18th. So at this meeting, it would be appropriate to have this election on Tuesday, November 4th. And then just to add to that, today we were actually notified from Bell County Elections that going forward for city and schools will actually be handling the elections. So we will still need to provide like the proper postings and publications, but as far as actually hosting the election and finding workers and everything, they're actually going to take care of that. So very nice.
That's good news.
It's very good, yes.
She was doing a dance when she got that letter earlier this morning.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2025-08-03, calling and ordering a special election for the city of Troy to be held on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, for the purpose of reauthorizing the city of Troy's 0.25% sales tax for street maintenance.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Ramirez. We have a second by Councilman Boykin. All in favor? We have a unanimous vote. Bring us to my favorite part of every meeting, number 16, which is adjournment. Thank you all for your time.